Hey guys, and welcome to part 2 of my full series showing you how to create your channel, how to make videos, how to get them views, all that kind of stuff. So in part 2 we're going to talk about making the videos themselves. Of course, if you haven't watched part 2, I recommend going ahead and doing that. We covered how to decide what kind of videos you want to make, making your channel name, and going ahead and creating a channel layout. So now guys, that you have all that done, we're ready to go ahead and begin making your videos. Of course, that's the whole reason you're here. So I can't exactly just say make a video this way or that way, but I can give you some tips on what kind of equipment and do's and don'ts and all that kind of stuff. So let's cover some of the big do's and don'ts. So one of the biggest things that gets people into trouble is copyright. So guys, copyright, it could be music, all kinds of different stuff, can really come back to bite you, whether it's immediately or later. So obviously there's the standard stuff. You don't want to be using music. So for example, maybe like Metallica, you don't need to be using a song from them or something. If you do need to use music, I do have a link in the description. Check it out. It's Incompetech. That's where I get all my music from. He makes fantastic free, royalty-free music. All you need to do is just put a link maybe to in the credits of the video or in the description to him, just saying that he made it, and then you can use the music however you want. So guys, it's fantastic. I highly recommend going ahead and check that out if you do need music. But copyright is farther than that though. Really, to explain how it works, if you did not create it, so for example, this video I created obviously because it's just me in front of a camera, so I own the copyright to it. So that's one thing that's totally fine. Now, if you have permission to use it, so for example, that's the Incompetech music. He made it, but he's giving you permission as long as you give it, the proper credit. So that's something else that is okay. Now, guys, there's also something called fair use, and this is where it gets really, really shady. So sometimes you can use copyrighted content in videos, and it's under fair use. So take, for example, a video game review. Obviously, you didn't create the video game, and so you can't really, say that you own it. But if you're doing it for reviewing purposes, that is considered fair use, and YouTube is 100% fine with that. Now, where it's not is, for example, when you're doing a video game walkthrough. That is where it's not, because you're just showing people how to get through it. You're not actually reviewing it. So, guys, there's a fine line, and it's kind of hard to, to say what's good and what's bad. But guys, in general, if you did not create it, or if it's not for reviewing purposes or something like that, you probably should not be using it. One of the biggest things that will help you on YouTube is if you are a really good speaker. So what that means is that you need to be able to be confident, and you need to keep away from the ums and the ers and stuff like that. So for example, I say guys way too much. It's just kind of something I do. I say that in real life as well as in videos. And that's something I really should learn. I've been trying, to cut down on. And stuff like that will really help you if you know that, you see what your weaknesses are, so you see that maybe you say too much. If you can concentrate on that and, stop saying and and stuff and just continue to speak, that will really help you out. Another thing is if you really need to be confident. So for example, right now I'm staring at a camera lens and I'm talking just as if it was a person. You really do need to be able to do that, because most of the time you're going to be by yourself, or you're not really going to, obviously you're not going to be seeing, YouTube. You're just looking at a camera. So you really need to get past that, and you really need to understand that you're actually talking to, this is going to be a full video, and that you need to be confident. You need to sound like what you're doing. So, guys, which one would you prefer to listen to? Me, who I'm obviously keeping eye contact with the camera, I'm, speaking, relatively well, not, saying a bunch of ums and ers, or if you're doing something like this, like, stuff like that, it's obviously really going to not help you make your videos. Sure, you might get some views, but people aren't going to watch the video. They're not going to want to subscribe. They're not going to want to ever watch any of your videos again, because they're like, oh, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. So guys, if you're a good speaker, if you're a good naturally, good speaker, of course, as soon as I start saying that, I start messing up my own speech. But if you're good at speaking, if you know what you're doing, if you sound confident, and if you're okay with talking in front of a camera, then you will go really far. It really will help you out. One really great piece of advice I can give you guys is that you do not need to be afraid to fail. So, for example, for all I know, this series might not be very good. You guys might not be learning anything, and it might be a total fail. But guess what? I'm going to take that chance, because for all I know, it could be very good, and I might have millions of people watching it tomorrow. You never know. So, guys, don't be afraid to fail. If you don't know, maybe a video is not going to be as funny as you thought, or whatever. It happens all the time, so don't worry about it. Every single video isn't like a life or death situation. So if you make a video, people aren't really liking it, that's okay. For all you know, the next video, which you might be unsure about, might be fantastic. People will love it, and you took a chance and it paid off. Okay, guys. So now that you have some general tips, let's go ahead and begin with what kind of stuff you will need to make your videos. So the first thing is that you are going to need a camera. So guys, this might be, you likely will already have a camera that will work. So if you have a digital camera, almost all of them have some kind of movie mode. You don't necessarily need a really expensive high definition camera, because while video quality is important, the video content, what you're saying, how you say it, all that kind of stuff is more important than the video quality. So just because you have maybe like a really expensive high definition camera, on the other hand, does not mean that you're going to make fantastic videos. So if you already have a camera, that's great. You might want to go ahead and invest in maybe a cheaper high definition camera. So for example, all my videos are shot on the Sanyo Exactly CG10, which currently can be found for just around $120 to $130. So guys, it's a very cheap camera, but it does give me good video quality, and it's a really decent camera. So guys, go ahead, whatever you do, if you already have a camera, that's great. Or if you need to go ahead and spend, $100, $200, whatever, on a new camera, that's just fine too. Now, of course, something that depends on what kind of videos you make is your lighting. So for example, when I'm talking to the camera right now, I obviously want a lot of light on me. I want you guys to be able to see. So I have quite a few lights. So above me, I have 3 pretty powerful lights to go ahead and illuminate to the left, to the right, and to the top of me. Then I have a 150-watt flood lamp straight on my face, which kind of gets a little bit annoying after a while, but it does really light up the video and really lets you see more. So guys, I'm going to show you what the difference is with no light, with a little bit of light, and with my full light. So guys, this is what it looks like with no lights on. All I have is just my window open. It's kind of an overcast day. So as you can see, it works, but it's not very good quality. Now I have my top 3 lights on. This is the way I used to make videos, and while it's pretty decent, you guys can see me pretty well, I hope, but still, it's not quite there. So there you go, guys. This is just a brief thing. Lighting is usually very important. You don't necessarily have to have a huge lighting rig. Sometimes maybe just like a couple of lamps or whatever you happen to have around will a lot of times give you good lighting, but it is really important for most videos. Now guys, that you have all the hardware, there's just one last thing, and it is a computer. Now, I'm sure most of you guys do have a computer. Obviously, you're watching YouTube right now. So the thing is, though, is that you will need to be able to be capable of video editing. Now, pretty much any computer can video edit, but it depends on what kind of camera you have and everything, and how powerful the computer is and how well it will edit. So guys, there's not a magic number. There's not like, oh, you need this computer or that computer. A lot of computers will work, and they will work just fine. If you have a newer computer, it definitely will help you out, especially if you're editing high-definition video like I do. So guys, trust me when I say if you have a more powerful computer, it really will help you out when you're editing videos. But as long as your computer can do it without, pausing and freezing and taking, a couple hours to do, then you should be okay. Okay guys, so that's it for my setup video about the do's and don'ts of creating your videos, as well as some general tips and what kind of equipment you should use. Now, of course, guys, this is what the equipment I use. Now, of course, you do not need this. A lot of times you might need less. Sometimes you might need more. For example, you might need a green screen, or maybe you might not need lighting. Maybe you do screencasts or something like that. So, guys, this is just kind of general stuff that you might want to consider whether or not you need. Anyway, guys, definitely stay tuned. Episode 3 will be coming soon. Thanks for watching.